My son faked being paraplegic so I would pay for his luxury life. I never thought I would say this about my own child. But my son destroyed me without ever lifting a hand. He did it with a lie. A lie so cruel. It drained my savings, broke my heart, and changed the way I see family forever. And the worst part, I believed him. For 5 long years. My name is Daniel. I'm 62 years old now, retired, living alone in a small house my wife and I bought when we were newly married. My wife Helen passed away 7 years ago from cancer. When she died, my son Ethan became my whole world. He was 27 back then, handsome, smart, always chasing big dreams but never sticking to one job. We weren't rich, but Helen and I had saved carefully our whole lives. We had about $180,000 in savings and a paid-off house. That money was supposed to be my safety net. It became his playground. One night 2 years after Helen died, I got a phone call at 2:17 a.m. It was Ethan. His voice was shaking. "Dad, I've been in an accident." I sat up in bed. "What kind of accident?" "I can't move my legs," he whispered. "I think I'm paralyzed." My heart dropped into my stomach. I drove to the hospital like a madman. When I got there, I saw him lying in a bed with tubes, machines, and a brace around his waist. He looked pale, weak, broken. The doctor told me there was spinal trauma from a car crash. They said the prognosis was uncertain, but it was possible he would never walk again. I held his hand and cried like a child. "Don't worry," I said, "I'll take care of you always." And I meant it. After he was discharged, Ethan moved back into my house. We converted the guest room into his bedroom. I installed handrails, ramps, and bought a wheelchair. The medical bills were massive. His insurance only covered part of it. So I started paying. Physical therapy, medication, special mattress, wheelchair upgrades. Every time I looked at him, I saw a wounded boy who lost his future. He played the role perfectly. He never stood up when I was around. He always asked me to help him transfer from chair to bed. Sometimes I caught him staring at his legs with anger in his eyes. "Why did this happen to me?" he would whisper. And I would feel guilty for still being able to walk. Within a year, our savings dropped from $180,000 to about $95,000. But then something changed. Ethan started asking for things that had nothing to do with medicine. "Dad, my mental health is terrible. I need a better environment." He wanted a high-end gaming laptop, a new iPhone, a bigger TV, designer clothes, takeout every night, paid subscriptions, a personal trainer for rehab, Uber rides everywhere. I thought maybe he needed joy to survive. So I paid. Then came the luxury. He convinced me he needed a better apartment because my house was depressing. So I rented him a modern apartment with elevator access. $1,800 a month. I also paid his utilities. I bought him a customized wheelchair that cost $12,000. I hired a part-time caregiver. He told me he couldn't work. "I can't sit too long, I can't concentrate, my pain is unbearable." So I paid everything. Food, internet, rent, entertainment, medical costs. By year 3, I had only $42,000 left. And I was living on canned soup. But here where things started to feel wrong. His social media. He always told me he was too embarrassed to post because of his disability. Yet one day, I saw a picture of him on Instagram. He was sitting in a wheelchair. At a luxury hotel pool. Surrounded by friends. Champagne bottles on the table. I asked him about it. "Those are old friends," he said, "they wanted to cheer me up." Then I saw another photo. A nightclub. He was in his wheelchair again. But the angle looked strange. His legs were positioned oddly, almost like he was holding himself up. I brushed it off. I didn't want to doubt my son. Then came the delivery mistake. One afternoon, a courier rang my doorbell. "Package for Ethan," he said. I told him Ethan didn't live here anymore. "Oh," the man said, "the apartment number on the label was wrong." He showed me the address. It was Ethan's apartment. Inside the box, a pair of $1,400 Italian leather boots. Boots. For a paraplegic son. My hands shook. I drove to his apartment unannounced. When I knocked, there was no answer. But the door was unlocked. I pushed it open. What I saw shattered everything. The wheelchair was in the corner. And Ethan was standing. Fully standing. Laughing on the phone. "Yeah, Dad pays for everything," he said. "All I have to do is sit when he visits." I felt my chest explode. He turned, saw me, and froze. "Dad." I dropped the package. My voice came out broken. "You can walk." He stared at me. Then he sighed. "I was going to tell you." He confessed. The accident had injured him, but he recovered after 6 months. He realized that when he acted helpless, I gave him everything. So he kept pretending. For 5 years. He hired friends to push his wheelchair when he went out. He trained himself to never stand in front of me. He learned how to fake pain. Fake weakness. Fake tears. "I didn't mean to hurt you," he said, "it just worked." I collapsed onto a chair. "You stole my life," I whispered. I went home and checked my finances. I had $8,742 left. My retirement was gone. My wife's life savings were gone. For champagne, hotels, and designer shoes. I called a lawyer. The lawyer said something that crushed me even more. "Unless you can prove fraud, there's little you can recover. You gave the money willingly." My son committed no crime. Only a sin. I confronted him one last time. "Why?" I asked. He shrugged. "You were lonely, I was broke, it made sense." That was the moment he stopped being my son. I told him I was done paying. He screamed, "You owe me, you're my father." I said quietly, "No, I was your victim." I sold my car. I downsized to a small apartment. I started working part-time at a hardware store. I cut him off completely. He blocked me everywhere. I haven't heard from him in 2 years. Last I heard, he was working as a fitness trainer. The irony still hurts. People ask me, "How could you not notice?" Because love makes you blind. Because grief makes you desperate. Because parents will destroy themselves to save their children. And some children know exactly how to use that. I still keep my wife's picture by my bed. Sometimes I talk to it. "I try to protect him," I whisper. I didn't know I needed protection too. Now I live simply. I grow tomatoes. I walk in the park. I help strangers instead of my son. And I learned one painful truth. Blood does not make someone family. Character does. If you're watching this, and someone is draining you with pity, ask questions. Look twice. Love with wisdom. Because the people closest to you know exactly where to cut. The end.